What do you like to do most?
The math, because you have to figure out which number it is.
Okay, that sounds like fun. When do you know why you're not going to school in there right now? Why you're not coming?
Yes, because of the virus.
Because of the virus. That's right. And it's kind of dangerous, and people can catch it really easily. So that's why
Yes.
they're close to schools. And I wonder, when you found out about that, what did you think was going to happen at school?
That we had to stay at school, and our parents had to bring sleeping bags for us so we can sleep in there.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to be sheltered at school?
Yes. I really thought that, man.
Are you enjoying doing schoolwork from home on a computer?
I'm actually doing it on my tablet.
Okay. Are you enjoying doing your schoolwork on a tablet?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you miss most?
Actually going to the school and in real life, and actually I'm used to reading at the school, and I'm actually a little scared that I'm never going back to school.
You're scared you're never going back to school?
Yes.
Well, if I could open the school tomorrow, would you be happy to come back?
Would you be happy to go back tomorrow if you could open it tomorrow?
Yeah.
What was your imagination about what was going to happen when we decided to do Montessori at a distance?
At first I was thinking that I definitely could not do it. I was like, oh no, I can't do this. But then, my pride kicked in. I was like, yes, I can. And so, I guess I just figured that there's that saying, all there is to it is to do it. There's no way around it, gotta do it. So, yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so we just kind of dove in there, and it was really, really hard the first week. I mean, like.
Tell me why.
It was just the adjustment, I think, because, with my job, since I'm just like the center for all issues, like people call me in the middle of something going horribly wrong, like all day long. They don't call and be like, hey, what's up? They call to tell me that something's.
Parents call me.
Yes, exactly. That's right. That's what the headmaster / president does, right? In my case, they call me to tell me a house flooded, or they're locked out, or whatever the thing is. And so it's hard to do that, concentrate with the boys and do that at the same time. And my job didn't slow down at all. It's gotten crazier, actually, because people are really scared.
Glad, you weren't crazy enough before.
Yeah, things weren't crazy enough before. So the first week was really hard because I'm used to being able to be alone, right? When all the issues are happening, and it be quiet, there not be kids, mom, and then, so working it with work was hard. And then with Oliver specifically, he is, we know Ollie. He's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a full sun plant, okay? He needs full sun. And so Aubrey's more of a partly shaded type, and so he's a little bit easier. And Oliver, he needs constant attention, and so I did not know how to do those at the same time, and it was really hard. And he had a lot more work than I could get him to focus on the first week.
2.5 weeks into it,
Yeah.
Caroline, how do you feel about the experience now, looking back on, this much time?
It's become easier because we've developed something of like a rhythm to work it with my job. If I were at home and I didn't have a job and nothing was going wrong and there wasn't a lot of stress just at the same time as it would be easier because I would have a lot more patience for coddling Ollie and paying attention and doing his thing. But I just naturally don't, and so work at the same time made it hard. But what I've tried to do is, for example, I did try to get Oliver up the first week and start with everybody else at 8:20, but it wouldn't work with I had too many calls coming in. I can't get in. I don't know where I am. This house doesn't have water. This house, there's 80 painters or whatever the problem was.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave up on that. So by week 2, I didn't even start him till like 9 because I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by this week 3, he starts about 9:30, and really the lack of calls coming in for me, it makes it easier for me to sort of set up at least a 15-minute time frame where I can say, all right, I started printing out the stuff he needed on paper, so he didn't have to come to me and say, what am I supposed to do now? And because logging into the tablet and stuff, I would have to do it for him. He has a password, so he can't get in and play on the internet whenever he wants,
Yeah.
And so I came up with some workarounds for our situation, and with Aubrey, he's only 3, so he can do his stuff at night or whenever, it doesn't have to be turned in and graded, or the teachers don't have to see that he's present,
Is he meeting with the teachers though?
Huh?
Is Aubrey meeting with the teachers also?
Yeah, Aubrey does his 11 o'clock. And the 11 o'clock Zoom time is a good time for us because it's not when all the morning stuff is, and it's right before we change sites or something. It's right before. So his 11 o'clock Zoom time is a great time for us to be fully engaged. And that's about the time that Oliver's at the height of what he's supposed to be doing, because I'm able to pay attention at that time frame. And so Aubrey does his schoolwork, but he usually doesn't start until 11. He'll start with his Zoom time, and then after Zoom time, he does his other work. With Oliver, I try to get him started because it takes him so long, around 9:30, and then he'll maybe have his Spanish class at 10, if it's Wednesday or not. But either way, we usually manage to get it finished by 3 o'clock or so.
Do you feel like the program that we've laid out, even though it's still evolving a little bit, do you feel like Oliver is keeping up? This Montessori to Distance is really a bridge between the day they close the schools and whenever schools reopen again. It's like a bridge, right? And my question is Oliver on the bridge making the kind of progress he needs to in order to be ready for next year?
Certain teachers, and me either, don't know what to do. But Miss Coleman is like an Oliver whisperer. So he's not getting the level of education he was getting with Miss Coleman. But, so in that way, yeah, it's not the same. I feel like he's falling behind because I don't know what I'm doing. But we are doing as much as we can. And I think for the format, like, first of all, none of us signed up for this, right? So all of us are just throwing it in there, right? And on top of that, with what you guys have got worked out now, by the third weekend, it's the best scenario possible. I can't imagine a better scenario.
So when you first found out that you couldn't come back to school, what did you think was going to happen?
I thought we would never go there again.
Oh, that's really sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've been doing school from home for 2.5 weeks now. Can you tell me what you feel about it now?
I'm feeling like really great about it. So
you are? Are you learning stuff?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what kind of things are you learning?
I'm learning Spanish.
Okay. That's fun.
I think that is maybe it. I have no idea.
Are you doing math?
Earth Day.
Your Earth Day, okay. You have an Earth Day thing already? Okay. Are you doing math and reading?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're doing pretty much all the same stuff you did before, or is it different?
Well, some of it is really different.
Yeah? Tell me what's different.
So there's this bookstore, right? We call the G Family. So like, there's this like little book thing that is like really small. Can you tell?
The little free library.
The little free library, and
Okay.
since it was Earth Day, I'm gonna show you what it looks like.
Okay.
It's painted on a rock.
You did that all by yourself?
No, they're putting it in this little box.
Uh-huh.
Looks like this. and they put this in it, so it has a mystery flower in it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Are you growing something?
Yes. Well, we don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is. Well, I hope it's not a magic bean and it's going to grow into a big stalk that goes all the way up into the clouds.
I'm a really good climber.
Yeah, I know. So what do you miss most about regular school?
Oh, I miss my friends.
You miss your friends? Do you get to talk to them on Zoom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Have you had some virtual play dates yet? For just you and your friends?
Girl Scout meetings.
Okay. Oh, you did? Okay, that's good. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell me about your experience doing school from home?
Sometimes when I'm at home a lot, I start to get really bored at home.
Yeah, I bet you do. Does your mom help you with your work?
Yes, sir.
She does? Okay. Does she help you too much or just the right amount?
Just the right amount.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. What was your expectation when we came back to school virtually and earlier this month?
Well, I knew that the teachers had spent pretty much their entire spring intersession creating a curriculum. So I knew that, I knew that they'd worked really hard. I knew there would be glitches. And so it's hard to find material that's appropriate, where the kids are learning online, but there's also like a Montessori element to it. So I think that they've done a really good job, despite challenges. And there's challenges with technology and, the different needs of the different kids. And even just the fact that there's 3 different grade levels. I mean, the difference between a first grader and a third grader is tremendous. So I'm just really impressed by, the effort that they've put in and their accessibility. I can shoot Miss Coleman a message and she responds to me in minutes. Same with Miss Danae. So
I'd like to draw on something you just said. Your question was, how are they going to retain some of the Montessori elements? Could you describe what Montessori elements you've seen in the last 2.5 weeks?
So they do, there's, just the hands-on, just even like the art projects that the kids are doing. They're almost daily. They incorporate something that has to do with going outside and, finding things around the house that, that the kids can just put their hands on, because I think that that's my favorite part of Montessori, is that connection that she can have between like touching things and manipulating and, and learning.
This whole program is sort of a bridge between before we had to leave school because of the virus and when we come back after the virus has abated enough to make it safe. Do you think Emerson is being prepared now for what's going to come her way when we come back to school, brick and mortar?
Yes, because I feel that she is stimulated. She's being academically stimulated. She's learning new things. And just the fact that she sees the other kids every day. Like, not all of them, because not everyone's able to participate. But, during the course of every single day, she sees Miss Coleman's face. She sees Miss Danae's face. She gets feedback from them on the work she hands in. They just leave little notes acknowledging the work that she's done. And, she has Spanish class with Miss Magali once a week, which she absolutely loves. So she's, I don't feel that there's a disruption in her learning. And, it is flexible. The programs that they're using are flexible. And I also feel like it's there is online work, but there isn't all online work. And there are things that, elements of Seesaw that Emerson doesn't do great with because she doesn't like coloring, like it's the technology that she doesn't like. So I can easily print something off and have her do an alternative, which, Miss Coleman is super flexible about. And, even the work that they choose, I can find a printable of it online, and she just does it that way.
What were you imagining working from home in a Montessori classroom would be like before we started?
I figured that it would probably be hard to translate what they do in the classroom to home. So I didn't have super high expectations, but I knew that whatever the teachers were going to provide was going to be great, and it was going to be adequate for what they needed to do.
Okay, now you're 2.5 weeks into it. What do you think now?
The last 2.5 weeks, it's been a little bit of a challenge just getting a routine that mimics the classroom. So, getting up and, getting dressed, getting breakfast, possibly having a small break before we sit down at 9 o'clock and start our lessons. And Ananda, she's been doing well with the computer. She loves having a new laptop. She's never had one before. She's never used one before, and she's caught on very well. And yes. Okay. Yes. So she's done a few things here and there.
You get to see Ms. Rita and Ms. Fazia?
Yes.
You do? Do you talk to them?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to come back to school sooner or later?
Sooner.
Sooner? Okay. You miss your friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I do too. I miss you in school.